Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Schott, would you please lead us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, you've entrusted us to be the stewards of our community. We ask that you bless our community with peace and prosperity. We ask that you protect our police department, our fire department, and our employees as they perform their duty, especially in this cold weather that they've been having to go through. Father, we also ask that you bless all the members of our military, past and present, and we thank you for giving them the courage to serve. We pray that you will protect them and return them safely home. Thank you for the many blessings you have given us, and keep us ever mindful of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
We have a few people absent tonight. Debbie, the clerk, Stephen, the solicitor, and Councilman Hartman is still recovering from surgery.
Motion to excuse. Second.
Hang on, I gotta remember where she writes that at.
This would just be for Mr. Hartman and for Deb. The solicitor was excused last meeting.
Who brought the motion, I'm sorry?
I did.
Randy?
Rod, you seconded it? Bennett? Fair?
Yes.
McKinney? Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
For the minutes?
Motion. Second.
There's a yes vote on here for me that I abstained.
Make that as amended.
Which one, where is it? You wanna just write it on a separate sheet and I'll tack it to this? Okay, Bennett?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yeah.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Bills?
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Early workers' time report, I mean,
There was one.
there's the one in there, okay. Fireman's time,
Motion on fireman's
I need a
Second.
second. Bennett?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Okay, the clerk treasurer's report. Bear with me for a second here. We received a thank you card from employee Tom Hartman for his gift certificates after his surgery. The Minolta copier is paid for. There's no service contract. She has a PO out right now to replace the drum. It should be under $500. She's continuing to work on year-end reporting. There's a furnace problem at the water sewer building. She issued a PO for service there, for repair service. Councilman Hartman is doing well after his surgery. She has 3 legislations. The first one, hang on a second, let me write this down. Is Resolution 1818, the third reading
Motion to pass.
of Hang on a second, Franny. Authorizing the mayor of the Village of Beach City to execute a transportation agreement with the city of Massillon, Stark County, Ohio for the transportation of prisoners. Franny gave a motion,
Second.
McKinney seconds, Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
She has a first reading of Resolution 1901. It is the 2019 Permanent Appropriations. She supplied a copy of a document that's submitted to Stark County, you should have. There's also Resolution number 1902, which is a first reading of the 2-year Sugar Creek Township contract. There should be a copy of that provided.
Yes.
What's the number on that? Oh, 1902.
1901 and 1902.
Contract for fire and ambulance. For sure.
They ordered a load of salt this week. That came out of general, I believe. No, not certain. But she did order that this week. They ordered that this week. I think that's all she has. Fire department is not here tonight, I don't think, okay. Police department, Chief Geip, you have anything for us tonight?
Couple things. First I got a resignation from Matthew King. Says to whom it may concern, I'd like to inform you that I will be resigning from my position of police officer for the Village of Beach City effective immediately. I would like to thank you for your support and the opportunity that you have provided me during the past year of my employment. I have truly enjoyed my tenure with the Village of Beach City and am more than grateful for the encouragement you have given me in pursuing my professional and personal growth. The reason for my departure is that I have been offered the position of full-time police officer with the City of North Canton. Due to both departments not allowing dual commissions, I am having to resign without a proper 2 weeks' notice. I have spoke with Chief Geip on this matter throughout the application process and updated him with every step. I wish nothing but the best for the department and the village. If there's anything that is needed from me before or after my resignation date, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Matt King. He's talked to me for the past 6 months regarding this employment, from the day he applied to the day he took his test, everything that he's told me. And actually, this was originally for December, but because of some other things outside of his control and mine, he held off until tonight, so.
I make a motion, we accept his resignation.
Second.
And wish him well.
Thank you, Kristen.
Absolutely, he did a great job for us, he's a very good officer.
Okay, Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
I will let you guys know that we are going to be receiving probably 5 more resignations. It's nothing out of the ordinary, it's first year, we're gonna be doing some changes and stuff. Some of these officers haven't met the minimum requirements I have for the department, so I've asked for them to resign. 2 of them have told me I'll have their resignations by the end of the month. So, nothing severe. I'd like to thank the fire department and the electric department for allowing us to use their garage over the weekend. If you drove by the police department, you have seen that none of the cruisers were there. Because of the storm, they allowed us to park our cruisers in their buildings just to keep them out of the weather, and gave the street guys an opportunity to plow our parking lot without any obstructions. And by the way, they did a really good job. The streets look great. I've had nothing but compliments on how well the streets are, and they always are, so I appreciate that. And then I would request $600 for new front and back door locks. These doors will not have more than 5 keys. And not all officers will get keys to the doors. They will have a pin pad that they can get in and out of, and I can shut that off at any point in time from anywhere. So it's a great new system. The locks that are there now have been there since probably the last couple chiefs that I'm aware of.
Do they have to sign for the keys like we do here at City Hall?
They won't have keys. So
We
there will only
went
be a
over
couple
this
supervisors, but
in
they
our
will.
meeting.
Huh?
We went over this in our meeting.
I make a motion that we spend the $600 on the lock system,
Or I should say up to 600.
up to.
Sorry.
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
And then I have 2 officers I'd like to introduce to you guys tonight. We have Chaz Dash on the right. If you guys want to go ahead and come up here. Chaz Dash on the right, Justin Jacobs here on the left. This will be Justin's first commission. He will be starting his career here with us. Hope he'll stick around for a while. Chaz, we're getting him from Waynesburg. He's been doing that for about 3.5 years now. He's not gonna need too much training. Hopefully get him to the streets and everything. Then I'm gonna move him up to part-time pretty quick. Both of them are eager to start. They've already been working through our lexical policies, and I think they like it so far. And it's pretty self-explanatory, and everything else they're learning the streets. So just need to get them sworn in.
Did we approve the second one?
You guys need to approve both of them. We have
I thought, no, wasn't this the gentleman who was here last meeting?
Justin was approved to get sworn in. You guys just need to approve Chaz.
But they
Correct.
both need one.
They both need sworn in. Yes.
That's what I said.
Sorry. Yes, they both need sworn in. So we need approval for Chaz and then swear them both
I
in.
need a motion.
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Let me see your paperwork. I'm sorry, which Chaz is the last name again?
Dash.
How many does that make right now?
Right now, I would have to look because of all the,
And then you're talking that we might lose 5 of them.
well, I guaranteed we're gonna lose probably 5 of them.
Okay.
I am 2 of them for sure. I'm sorry, 4 of them. 4 of them are 100%. So I'm just waiting on resignations for the other 3. And we've got 1 tonight, and I had one position open, and I'm waiting on 1 more resignation. For sure, so you'll be seeing a lot of them coming through before the 1st of March.
Right now with these 2 though, you'll be full.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, this just fills my roster up, that's all it does. So we're filled at, I believe it'll put us at 19. But then,
And then when the other resignations come, you'll be down.
but I'm not gonna fill them. For the time, I will eventually, but right now I'm gonna try to do with less, as long as the shifts are covered. But eventually we will refill them. Is that what you were looking for?
No, it's not me. You
Oh,
can
I'm
approve.
sorry.
All right. Do you want me to swear him in now?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Hey, if you guys wanna go ahead and come up here?
Well, gentlemen, raise your right hands. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and state laws of Ohio,
laws and ordinances of the political subdivision
laws and ordinances of the political subdivision
to which I am appointed,
to which I am appointed,
and to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
will discharge the duties of this office.
discharge the duties of office.
Thank you, gentlemen. Welcome aboard.
Badge? Congratulations. There you are. Congratulations, gentlemen. Justin, here.
Go on. You try?
Welcome.
And that's all I have, guys. Thank you.
We'll talk about ODOT here in a minute. Chief.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Lambert, do you have anything for us tonight?
One thing, the guy paid the lease on the farm for this year, and it's all taken care of, and that's all I got.
Very good, all right. Thank you. Solicitor's not here tonight. We got a, letter, do you have a copy of that?
Franny should have it. I didn't bring mine with me, sorry.
You want it, Mayor?
Yeah, let me see it, just in case. ODOT did a traffic study of the intersection of 212 and 93. They don't think that it needs a, traffic light, but they are willing to make it a four-way stop if we want it to be a four-way stop. I don't know, it's something I think we need to give some thought to. I don't wanna create something that ends up being worse than what we have now. And the only reason I say that is, how long's that intersection been there with that thing? 40 years, 50 years, since 1970, right? When they redid 212? Okay, everybody in this town's been going north and south without stopping. And now we change it, I think I'm afraid, what I want to avoid is end up having, instead of the people going east and west causing the accidents, people going north and south causing the accident. That's what I want to avoid, so if you guys want to give it some thought.
I can only see one problem, is that they've been going through, what we're doing is we're gonna help the people going east and west, because they don't stop. By putting stop signs the other way, we can help them, hopefully no accidents. That's better than a stoplight, I mean, a red light, because it won't work with a red light.
I think a red light, you would have more, or you would have less accidents with a red light than you're going to with a four-way stop.
The trucks.
I agree, you can't see around.
You can't make the
around
turns with trucks.
Guy's house, I mean, yeah.
They
But
have to put the white line back there.
you would have to have,
Traffic light.
or people would
I'm
be
not
backing
against
up,
the stop sign
but
to help stop the accidents. I had it there too, I know. Think about it. If we try it and it doesn't work in, let's say, 6 months, we'll do away with it. But, all you're gonna do with stop sign is to stop the people on 212 going through the stop sign.
well, another thing I worry about is that just gonna back up traffic at this light?
Well, you ain't gonna have no stop sign there, only going, east and west on Main Street. That's gonna be through.
What?
There ain't gonna be no stop sign going north and south at the red light. That's only gonna be a blinker, the way I read it. Maybe I read it
I
wrong.
thought it was a four-way stop.
The existing light here will stay, that will become a four-way stop.
I thought they was gonna put a blinker up here and only have a stop sign on the east and west of Main Street. Did I
That's
read
what we
something
got
wrong?
now.
212 and 93, not here on Main Street.
That's why I said to you, you're gonna have traffic backed up on 93 and 212 when they all come together and stop. It's a good thing the school's not here anymore.
I'm gonna have to start back over again. I
See,
thought-
what we have now is the stop signs for east and west and just a flashing yellow north and south. They wanna make it a four-way stop.
Okay, let me start over again. At the red light now on Main Street,
This one.
they wanna do away with the red light, only put a blinker, and the stop signs will be on the north, east and west on Main Street. Did I read this all wrong? I'll have to
I
go
didn't
back
read
and
that,
talk
but
to
let me
them.
reread it, maybe I read it wrong.
I didn't see that either.
Maybe I read it wrong.
I could've missed it. I just got excited when they said four-way
I
stop.
didn't see where they're gonna do anything with a stop sign down here on Main Street, are they?
I didn't see nothing in there either about that.
It's
Oh,
just,
is
it's
it not
just
the-
up there.
Yeah, all it
intersection
says is-
212 and
The
93.
intersection does not warrant a full signal, but it does warrant a four-way stop.
It don't say nothing about Main Street and the red lights there now.
The
What
resident
happens if
that
in 6
sent
months
in
we don't
the-
like it?
The resident that sent in the letter,
Huh?
Okay,
that mentions
state allow
that
us?
light.
okay, you're right.
But that's just the email from the resident to ODOT complaining about it. That mentions that light. ODOT's response does not mention this light.
In other words, we're gonna end up keeping the light there.
Yeah,
You
we
got
can,
a
we
mess.
can look at that too, Frank.
That
if you
ain't no
want to.
good.
That's a mess.
They made an option that they would allow us to move the red light off of Main Street down on the intersection of 212 and 3, but they wouldn't do it, but they would allow the town to do it if we chose to have our guys to do it.
Oh, I didn't read that either.
No.
They was
I
always
don't-
against that.
Well,
Yeah, they've tried before to
I
move
didn't
that
read
light
that.
down there.
I read it, but I didn't.
Well, the state has to give you permission, that's for sure.
So the stoplight on Main Street up here, I personally would be fine doing away with that and making either a four-way or a yellow and red light. Like how this one is up here,
It's up at the top.
move it down here if we can do it.
One paragraph.
Because I don't think up here constitutes
here.
really a.
Unless they just changed, because years ago, that's what Connie wanted to do, was move it from Main Street up here to 212 and 93.
Yeah, I don't think they'll
The state
allow us-
absolutely refused.
I don't think they'll allow us to move the stoplight up there. I could be wrong, that's what Mayor's reading now, but I think that and this is kind of just on the safety side, you have to go through Donnie and them too. But me personally, I think that you could do away with your stoplight here, put the red and yellow light here flashing, and have the yellow lights going east and west, and then the Main Street, just a red light there, because you can see all four corners up here. So in order to avoid the backup problem, then we just make that a flasher there, put the four-way stop at 212 and 93, the all four-way red flasher, and then pretty much we'll just move what that light is right there up to Main Street. Do away with that traffic light up there. I don't think we need it.
If you got a four-way stop up there,
Correct.
and they changed and reroute the traffic on 21, and you know they always bring it off of 21 to bring it into 212, out here then either go 62 or 93, you have a mess up here. How them trucks gonna make a turn?
If that's just a four-way stop, they should still be able to make that turn. Because it would just be a four-way, and this one here will just be a two-way stop. That should save your backing up problem. But I really don't think you need a stoplight up here. But I do think the four-way stop here would be good, but in order to alleviate any kind of backing up, maybe get rid of the stoplight.
Yeah, you'd have to.
That's
You
just
can't have-
that's my thoughts on it, and
You can't
that's.
have the red light there, you would only have a stop sign going east and west on Main Street.
Yep.
You would have a yellow blinking light this way, you'd have a caution light going north and south.
Yeah.
now we can control that intersection
I
because
believe,
ODOT doesn't
I
have
believe
it.
so, because that's just our, and we're doing away with less, I think they would be,
I think what they're saying here, Hazel, is that we're responsible basically for installing the lights and because they say in this one, it doesn't warrant a stoplight.
correct.
So they will not let us put a stoplight at 21293.
Yes, but at
We
least they're
can
willing.
keep the one here if we want or not, that's up to us.
I do like the fact that they're at least giving us an option now. I know I've talked to a couple of the people at ODOT, and that resident emailed the ODOT people, and, so I don't know, it's completely up to you guys. I think it would be worth a try, we can test it, and if it doesn't work, we can take it back out.
Can we though? It doesn't mention that in here.
If they're allowing us to do either one, I don't see where they would.
Yeah, I'd wanna know if they're gonna hold us to it.
Yeah, I definitely would too.
Okay.
Can you reach out to him and find out? Okay. If you could reach out to him and find out if we decide that it isn't working out and we want to go back to the way it was if we have that option.
Sure, is that something that you guys would be interested in entertaining? Donnie, what do you think about it? What's your thoughts?
About taking the light out of here and just having that what used to be over there, basically. Well, which way would be the throughway? Up and, no, side by side, or
Throughway.
north,
Throughway
south?
would be,
North, south.
North-south, yep, throughway would be north-south, east-west would be the red lights. And then, pretty much with the way that one is right now set up.
Right,
Would be over here.
here and then that would be a four-way.
So that would just be a four-way, that should alleviate any kind of backing up problems, cause that traffic light, I can see all around, everywhere there when you're going to turn. I don't think it necessarily needs a stoplight to be there. It's just, the problem is you can't see, obviously, that intersection, and that's where all our accidents come from, is they're going east to west, and they don't see that one's not a four-way stop, and they get hit.
I know you'd have to do a lot of testing on four-way down there, or give it a break. Because the truck come through at midnight, I watch them all the time, going to the dairy. He wouldn't be used to that very long. It'd take a while.
Well, it's gonna take a while either way. I just don't wanna make it worse. I mean, right now, we have a two-way. There's three signs, two stop signs, one sign that says cross traffic does not stop, and there's two flashing red lights.
And still can't get them to
And they
stop.
still can't get them to stop. So,
Okay.
I don't know, I just don't wanna make it, I'm afraid we're gonna say, okay, the people going east and west, now they're not the ones at fault, now it's the people going north and south, cause they were so used to that always being
I
straight
see
through,
what you're
so
saying.
are we just alleviating one problem and creating a second one? That's what I wanna avoid.
That's what I don't know. I have no clue. I don't
And
know.
we
if
won't
it's-
know it, I guess, till we try it.
Well,
mean-
or unless they would let us do a trial.
That's what he's gonna ask, that would be
We're
great.
gonna check
So if
on
we
that.
can,
Yeah, he's gonna
I'm
check
just,
on that.
I'm just thankful they're finally budging and letting us do something there. So I mean, if we, at least we have the option, we can leave it the same way, or at least if, later on down the road, we decide, hey, let's change it, but I'll at least reach out to the guy and see what he says.
See if he can send us something in writing so we have it, just,
Sure.
so that I feel a little,
I think it all comes down to the fact that people are not paying attention while they're driving.
it does, you're right.
They're
that's
they're
exactly what it
texting,
is.
they're on the phone, they're doing everything that they should be doing except driving.
99% of the people that cause that accident there blow that stop sign.
Sure.
I mean, that's what causes it. They think it's a four-way stop, so they blow that stop sign. And it is impossible to see around in that White House. That's
Even
just-
way back when, before 212 was running there, remember when that street was a dead end down there, where where the bridge is now, that used to be a dead end.
Okay.
There was a stop sign there on 212, well, it wasn't 212 then. Always, it's always been that way. And then they decided, well, we're not gonna run the traffic through Beach City anymore, we're gonna move it over. So,
And what do you cite them for? Just for failure to stop?
We're running a stop sign. Obviously, if we're testing it, I'm not going to cite people for probably the first 6 months to a year.
No, I mean, what have you been citing the ones who have caused the accident for running that stop sign? Just running a stop sign?
Stop sign, failure to control.
Why can't you cite them for reckless stop? Because it is posted, cross traffic does not stop.
So the reckless stop, they have to be doing 25 miles an hour over the posted speed limit for them to be charged with the reckless stop of RC. Or squealing tires and spinning around. There's different regulations that they give us for citing for reckless stop.
well, there are people in this village, residents, who believe that 212 is like NASCAR. We got on here at 93 and we run it all the way out there across the bridge to get out
Both those
to
state routes in there are pretty much, well, they,
11 Goods Farm and hope they can make the turn.
we've stopped several people there. So, like I said, we cite them with what the state is mandated for them to be cited with for running that, and we go from there.
Can you cite them for driving while stupid?
No, they might be able to get me.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll,
I'll get hold of him
get
next
hold of
week.
him, and then we'll decide if we wanna try it. It sounds like we almost gotta try it. People have been asking for something in this town. I'm not convinced that what ODOT's
I'm not
thing is
I
the right
agree, I
answer.
don't know if that's the right answer or not.
There's one way to find out, we'll put it up there, and if you have power cars there, then maybe we'll do something.
I think they're expecting that if there's, whatever's done, there's not gonna be another accident there.
Well, yeah, and
So we
that's
had to time-
that's ridiculous.
just-
There's gonna be
yeah,
accidents.
There's always gonna be.
Yeah, that's
I
just,
had an accident.
My wife got T-boned there one night.
I can think of at least 3 of you guys right now that had accidents there, so,
I rode the T-bird there.
All right, thank you, Chief.
thank you.
You didn't run the stop light, or stop sign.
No, I had a woman think it was a four-way stop. I was watching her, just as I got there before. She
Make
took
sure
off
this is
and got
on
me.
dead pad. This is Bailey's. Can you hand that back? Whoops. Thank you.
You mean, was it Bailey's or?
That says Bailey on it.
What about the one Hazel handed you?
I gave it back.
Did it go through me?
Okay, I think that's all I have. I think that's all Deb has. Nobody signed up to speak tonight, right?
No, there's nobody on it.
Good. Let me make sure here. That's it, that's all I got. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah. we
What
did-
about your committee meeting?
Oh,
We had a committee meeting.
Hmm.
You want to
Do you have the
address-
notes on it?
I do have notes, yes.
Okay. Whoever, who's the chairperson of that committee?
I have a few.
All right. Whatever Rod wants, so you want
Sure.
Georgie to read the notes?
Okay, committee meeting, we did discuss, the lock system that the chief got approved tonight. That looks like that's gonna work out very well. She was talking about reviewing the ordinances and employee handbook. Right?
Pertaining
Where'd he
to the
go?
police
Lexi-
department.
with Lexi.
Pertaining to, yeah, pertaining to the police department, and what we would like to do is have a few people go through all of the ordinances. For, Lexipol, some of the ordinances we have are outdated. Some are duplicated, I believe. So we're going to go through the ordinance book and the handbook and check to make sure that things are current, so that we can get rid of things that we no longer need, and things that are duplicated, or things that are just plain wrong. Some of us volunteered to do that, myself and Rod. Fran, you were gonna do that,
I said I would help.
I was,
Oh,
I was kidding.
I know you will.
So that was the main thing, we have to see if that works if council agrees that for us to do that, to go through them and check them, to see what is overlapping, what's not working, that type of thing, so he can make Lexipol as updated as possible.
The only thing I asked the chief was, who was Lexipol? Who ended up doing this? Was it, at first he said just lawyers. I said, oh, no, that isn't good. Then he come back and said, no, it's different people besides the lawyers. And I said, well, that's better. So you get other things there, and people think, and we gotta be up to date with it, so it ought to work pretty good.
Well, yeah, and we already have Lexipol, so we're kinda,
right. We gotta implement it to
Yeah.
the best of our, and really, we don't know what we're gonna uncover when we start to dig through these old ordinances. There may be stuff on there that's no longer needed.
yeah.
There may be stuff on there that's illegal according to the ORC now.
Right.
We don't know, so that's why we want to try to organize that and get a better idea of what's there.
Nope.
And that way Lexipol can, what we would have to do then, well, I'm sure you.
What we need is a resolution, stating that anything that conflicts with Lexipol will override the Beach City ordinance. But that will have to be a resolution, we'll have to get Stephen to write that up.
Right, and that would be once we get this, ideally, I would like to have it organized to where we can say, these are the ordinances that we want to override.
And we also discussed, payment for court time, which is something that the whole council will have to vote on. You would like to do 2 hours of court time at time and a half. And that they get paid 2 hours regardless of how long they're there. If they're there less time than 2, they get 2 hours. And then anything past the 2 hours would be paid at regular time. Because the guys have to leave work, their regular jobs, clock out, go to court, and do all that stuff, so they're losing time at the regular jobs. So that's something else we'll have to vote on, whether we wanna do that or not.
Right now, we pay 2 hours at regular time, am I correct?
Just regular time from the time they clock in, time they clock out.
What?
It's all just regular time. There's
That's
no
what I said,
minimum-
I mean, if
there's
they
no
go to
2
court,
hours.
they get 2 hours oh, they don't?
No. So the way I would, the way that it was discussed in October was to do, when you guys adjust the pay ordinance, just include that in there as well. And we'll bring that up later. Sorry, George, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's because you understand it better than I did.
Me too.
Yeah, because I didn't realize they weren't getting court time. And then you did find the ordinance, or you did find where we discussed it,
It
and we
was-
did not pass. it,
Correct,
right?
nothing was passed, it
Okay.
was just discussed.
Okay.
But I don't know if somebody ever told me, if I forgot. Where does Lexipol get their authority to tell us what to do?
They get it from like the Ohio Constitution, federal laws, state laws, and then there's they got state law.
Is this kind of like ALEC that everybody uses to make laws?
I have no clue what that is. But so, what they do is they'll give you Ohio laws, they'll give you federal laws that are actual state and federal laws. They put it into our policy. Every time those updates, they'll update Lexipol. Then they have discretionary, which is pretty much what best practice. So they go through all these other departments and these people, the attorneys, the professors, the police chiefs, police officers, you name it, that come together from all these other departments and say, hey, this is a best practice. And then they do a best practice. And then you have agency information you put in there. So then we can put in, I can put in anything. I can change anything in Lexipol. They tell us not to touch the state or federal things. Because there's state and federal laws, we don't want to change anything the state and federal says. Anything discretionary, we can adjust. Anything agency related, we can adjust that to make us work for our department. The most that I really did was just adjusted I put in about scheduling, how we do our scheduling and how they get docked for calling off and missing work. Let's see, there's one of the big ones is a towing hearing. So prior to this, if say we towed a vehicle and my officer was not supposed to tow the vehicle, I have plans in place for that also that I put in Lexipol, like they are required to call supervisor prior to towing any vehicle or taking someone to jail, just as a safeguard, just in case. But say someone's vehicle gets towed and say maybe the paperwork was wrong on leads that we run them through and says they're suspended but really they're not, and then we end up towing it. So what could happen if we falsely tow that vehicle, then they would, in the past, we have nothing, so I wouldn't have any idea what we do, but what they're recommending is that we would have a hearing. And that hearing would possibly include the mayor, a couple council members, pretty much what would come to council and the mayor to decide whether or not we're going to pay that towing fee because we wrongfully towed that vehicle before we had nothing in place. It does not say that if we wrongfully tow it, we will pay it. It just says we'll at least have a meeting to discuss it. So stuff like that in there. There's several things. But it also has this program called OCLEAC, OCLEAC. It's Ohio Collaborated Law Enforcement Agency. I forget what the other C stands for. But pretty much, well, that is another state program that is all these Ohio Collaborated Police Departments got together and said, this is best practice. So it has a bunch of those in there as well.
Lexipol is nothing but the state of Ohio, right?
And federal.
And federal.
Lexipol is countrywide. So it's across the United States, and it does police and fire. They're working on corrections and security right now, making policies for them.
One of the questions I'd asked when they brought it up was, who sits on this board that makes these laws? At first they said the lawyers, and it finally come up, no, there's a variety of people that's on there together, not just lawyers, a little bit of everybody.
I didn't realize this country was governed by committees. I thought it was governed by legislatures.
Lexipol doesn't govern, it gives you the guidelines to govern by. It doesn't, it is not, Lexipol is not law. It just shows you the laws so that you can govern your department by, under them. It gives you the state and federal laws, and then the discretionary are the ones that you can put, like if it says we ticket at first stop, running a stop sign violation. It says what each city does. That's the discretion.
So in other words, they're looking for uniformity all across the country,
Right.
and all municipalities, all
So that
cities.
it will help on, say somebody files a lawsuit about wrongful ticketing or something. It gives you the guidelines to go by, so it decreases the chances of doing that.
and it's so well done that our insurance company will actually, I believe the first year they're gonna pay for half of it. The second year they pay like 40%, third year's 30%. They'll actually pay for part of this program for us to have it in place. It's a really good program, and I can adjust anything in it, which is nice. So March 3rd, it's gonna take effect for my officers. However, if somewhere down the road we find, oh, wait a minute, that shouldn't be in there, I can immediately adjust it, reissue it, they have to re-acknowledge it. So once I, because each policy they have to acknowledge and say, yes, they understand this policy and it's their responsibility to know every one of them. There's 145 of them, 605 pages. Once they acknowledge that, if I go in and change that, then I have to reissue that to them, and they have to re-acknowledge that policy that it's been changed, which is really nice too. So it makes it their responsibility to know it. So for example, at our meeting, there was one thing that we found just by going through a few of them was that something had to go through the financial committee. Technically it's council, but their word for it was financial committee. So I can adjust that to say council. So there's gonna be a couple of little languages there. Anytime you'll see like a financial committee or safety committee or something like that, that generally means council. So, because we don't have any of those other committees set up, but
It's just guidelines, more or less, for the officers. They can even pull it up when they pull somebody over, and if, say, they wanna know what the laws are for speeding in the village, where they're stopped, they can pull it up and make sure that they're not going beyond their scope of being, of that
correct,
ticket.
correct. So right now, Chaz here has it on his cell phone. He can pull it up pretty quick. You got the.
I have it up right now.
So he's got our policy manual on there, and he can type in, say, domestic violence. We're on domestic violence call. It gives state law, federal law, my procedures on it, as well as it has all the forms I want them to fill out attached to that. So they can click on it and see every form they have to fill out or give that person. So it's really, it's pretty in-depth, but I'm gonna give, Rod's asked for permission to view it, and I've gotta get your email address, and that's why you don't have it. But I'm gonna give him, access to it, and he can go through and read all those, and then he can bring to me, and I know the mayor has it, Debbie has it, and Steven has it, has all access to Lexipool right now. They have their own login. But this way, at least, we have a couple other people reviewing it with me, because I'm not gonna find everything. I'm pretty sure I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but if there's a few things that are missing, at least they can say, hey, let's adjust this, and, or what do you think about this, and we can fix it, as well as while you guys are going through you guys' policies and procedures. If there's something in Lexipool you guys like, you obviously can't plagiarize it, but change it around and make it work for you guys.
Yeah, the council will still make the laws and the ordinances, rules, so to speak. It's just we gotta add them into Lexipool so that, it reminds me of kind of an ISO 9000 type deal. It just gives you, like Rod said, guidelines of how to operate to be safely within a certain area. So that everyone's always operating this, and in your department is always operating the same way.
They all have the same guidelines and how we do things. It also has like officer evaluations in it, which is great. So whenever I go to evaluate an officer yearly, they actually can see that form that I will print out and give them. They can see it right now. As well as the only other thing is leads is in there. So every spring and fall, they have to sign off that they read what they call leading times. It's a bulletin that the leads that we use gives out twice a year. So in order to make sure that it's acknowledged, I just update that policy twice a year with that new leads in it. And then they have to go through and acknowledge that they read and understand every parts of it. So when I get audited by leads, I can show every time they've acknowledged that and said, look, they're all up to date here. And so it's gonna save us on audits as well.
Okay, if I may, Lexipool was founded in 2003 by Gordon Graham and Bruce Craig, attorneys, former law enforcement officers with extensive experience in risk management. So that's who.
And that's the reason, risk management, it keeps you on this, aimed the right way,
Yes.
so that you can't,
But yeah, so hopefully, like I said, if there's anything you guys see that needs changed, please, I'll adjust whatever we need to make sure it fits for Beach City. like I said, they gave me a generic policy and said, fix it. And
So we could outlaw Franny's shorts after like September.
no socks up to your knees.
I'm liking this more.
What if we have pants?
Why not
on
just
top?
abolish them, period?
So, and Chaz, is coming from a different department, I don't want you to, don't name the department, but if you wanna kinda explain what the differences is.
I can tell you right now, I can't find policy. Our policy book is a mess. If I need to know something that I don't handle very often, I have to call my chief, because it's impossible. We have a 3-ring binder with papers that are out of order, everything's everywhere. This, I already have an app on my phone, you can just type it in, pull it up. I love it. It's great.
You ain't allowed to do that, by the way.
What's that?
That's infringing my rights,
What's that?
whatever you decide
You
to
don't
do.
got any rights.
But I'm offended when he hears that.
Well, a certain mayor who remained nameless, and I pulled up the post office the other day, and there was no shorts and socks shoveling snow. Jeez. Can you believe that?
I had to get the job done.
Does that cover everything you wanted to cover, Georgie?
Well, it does, but we need to have a vote on us going through all
All
of
the
the books.
resolutions.
Yeah,
All to allow us to go through the,
yes. 'cause
We do?
Well, we talked about it at the committee
Yeah.
meeting and decided that we
We
needed
would
to
do
have
it, yeah.
council approve it.
right.
We don't need an ordinance, right?
Right,
We just
just
need them to
approve.
okay it.
So what do you want me to call this? Approval for,
Review of the ordinance,
Review of ordinances.
make them Lexipol compliant.
Well, and we have to have copies.
Gina, I'd like to see you make the motion, or Hazel, because us 3 was on the committee already.
Okay, whatever you wanna call them, I'll make it.
We can put it on about the copies also. I mean,
what do you mean? I have approval for review of ordinances, to make copies of ordinances?
no, we need a
To
copy
make them
of
Lexipol compliant.
Oh.
We need a copy of every ordinance on the books. We don't have that. We have ordinance up to 2000 from 1986, but anything before that or after that, we do not have it in the book.
There can be ordinance and policies as well, because there's a policy book, village handbook.
Need copies of all ordinances and policies. Sound good?
From the beginning of time.
When was you born, Franny? All right, I have a motion by Councilman Fair,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Bennett. Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That complete what? Is that the only one we need?
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else tonight? No? All right. Stay warm. Meeting adjourned.